Well, let's hope it crafty hope and welcome. Um, I am going to work on week 3 of Seek, Gather, Create for summer of 2022. Seek, Gather, Create is a challenge that comes from Lisa, Jana, Tina, Laura, and Melanie. I will have all of their links below along with and that'll go to their YouTube, not their YouTube, their Instagram, and I'll have the YouTube links for a couple of them down there as well. So um, Seek, Gather, and Create basically is another prompt challenge. It's mixed media, using any kind of media you want. Well, any kind of medium you want. If you want to use an art journal or a tag, or I suppose I could probably do some jewelry or kind of whatever. You just have to use the prompts that they have, and they have 5 prompts this week, and they are by the sea, something vintage, a ticket, something rusty, and a face. So all of those felt very, I don't know, 3D to me, and I thought I was going to do something else. I was going to make some kind of banner or assemblage or something like that, but I am still kind of suffering the effects of COVID. I've had it for about a week now. I'm just now kind of getting up and around. It's been a rough haul. I still don't have any taste or smell. That developed about 2 days ago, and I'm not liking it. So, so I'm not up to a whole lot. So I thought I'll just do an art journal page, kind of keep it simple, and that'll be that. So we'll see how this goes. Let me tell you what I've got. So for By the Sea, my first thought is I dove into a container I have of a bunch of like seashells and driftwood and all that. And I did pull out this piece of driftwood, but nah, I don't think I'm going to do it. Like I said, I was thinking of maybe doing some kind of banner or something, but I don't think that's going to happen. I did pull out some sea breeze and sea glass paint, so By the Sea, but I also found this photo of this couple standing in front of the sea, and it's marked September 65. But there's no name or anything, but I thought that could be a nice focal, so I think I'm going to go with that probably, and maybe pull these in. Something vintage. I've got some vintage papers here, y'all. It's, a lot of these I could say this photo is definitely vintage. I've got some papers I'm going to collage with. I'll probably have other papers I'll pull in to collage with. But then a ticket, I've got this collection of different tickets here, and they are all vintage as well. So, that goes in several different ways. And then something rusty, I've got all kinds of rusty stuff, y'all, but I've got a couple of rusty safety pins here that maybe I'll pull in. If not, maybe I'll find something else. And then a face. That was the hardest because since I knew I was doing this, I wasn't sure how I wanted to pull a face in, but I remembered I have this piece of, I don't even know what it I don't know, some kind of paper. And I'm going to probably just tear this down to use in my collage, or, I might use it whole and collage over it. I don't know, but it's a face. I'll get it in here. So I'm going to get started. We're going to see how this goes. I'm going to try not to be too complicated with this. I am using this Square Dilutions journal. I put off using it because I don't really like to work in a large format. But I think I just want to play. So we'll see. We're going to go to this, make sure I get these 5 things in. If you have any questions, make sure to ask below, but let's get to this. Alright, so I'm going to pull out my collage papers. I'm going to start with that face just to go ahead and tackle it. Like I said, it was the one that I really felt like was one of the harder prompts. All of these prompts felt very, like I said, I think before, with 3D to me. Like, I wanted to put more 3D elements in here, things that were like charms or cabochons or things like that. But no, I'm going for the 2D mixed media, and I'm gonna put this piece of collage paper down. So I tore it down into 4 different pieces, and I'm gonna use my Ooh glue stick just to kind of get them down here. I'm not gonna let it keep looking like a face, but y'all, I've got the face in there. You've got the components of this face and profile. And now I'm going to bring in my vintage book papers. So this one is one that I had some Stabilo marks on it. And yeah, so I'm just using that. And then this is some kind of engineering or science one. I don't know. They're both vintage books, if not older than 25 years, because y'all, at this point, my college textbooks are vintage. So, that weirds me out a little bit. All right, so I'm just using, like I said, using my Oohoo glue stick, getting that stuck down. And I'm going to bring in one more kind of piece of paper. This is a jelly print of some kind that I had that has some of that like bluey green in it that I knew I wanted to bring into this. So, and it's on looks like music paper. Yeah. And so I'm just going to get a little bit down. I knew it wasn't going to be anything about the collage. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of make that a little more cohesive and bring in the sea colors with that sea glass, and I think that's an Americana, Deco Arts Americana acrylic paint. So I just put it down in a couple spots, and I'm going to brayer it out. Just, yeah. And there, in this and a couple of the other things I do are some of my favorite details in this page. So I'm going to get this brayered out, and then I realized I didn't have any water or anything on my desk, so I stopped the camera for a second and come back with my little handy dandy yogurt cup of dried up instant coffee. So I reconstitute that with some water and use a really big paintbrush to get that coffee down in a couple spots. And I'm making sure I get it like really kind of concentrated. I wanted it dark and gloopy and all that. And once I get a few of those down, of course, I'm going to do some splatter because I can't help myself. But this coffee technique, the way the coffee reacted on top of that acrylic paint along with some of those vintage papers is really yummy. There's a spot over on the right side that I just absolutely love. The lower right, you can't see it now. You hopefully can see it in the details at the end, but where the acrylic paint kind of acted as a resist for the coffee, it's super yummy. All right, so I'm going to dry that, and then I grab my chunky pencil, and I'm just going to do some scribbles just to get a little bit more movement here on the page before I start. I don't know, I want to start with some of the other, like, looking at some of the other materials, the prompts. So I'll pull in, I think, my picture. Oh, no, first I wanted some white on here, but I didn't want super stark white. So I've got a China marker in white that I'm just going to do some marks with. This is, like I said, just to bring a little bit of white into the page without it being too stark. I thought about using, like, a paint pen or something like that to do these marks, but I knew that wouldn't be quite grungy enough, I suppose. Whereas the China markers, just a little more grungy. Yeah. So, yeah. I'm totally distracted, y'all. Like I said, I'm still not feeling great. I'm still recovering, but I didn't want to miss a week. So I'm glad, even though I'm running a little bit behind, I'm not super behind on the Seek, Gather, Create challenge. So I'm going to start looking at my focal. So I've got that image, and I knew it was bigger than I really wanted. So I'm going to tear down the edges. That means removing that date that's on there. So that's a shame, but I know it's now recorded. You have seen this. That's from September of 1965. But that's okay. And that being September, I don't know if that's when the picture was taken or developed, but in my area, you can still go to the beach in September. So that's, this could be from right around in this area down in Florida somewhere. And I'm pulling in a couple of those tickets I've got. Now, I'm using the red one because the bathing suit of the lady in this I can see is kind of a red pink. And I can still kind of see the lips of the face, and that's got a little red in it. And also I wanted that kind of blue-green ticket because it says, I know the gin is visible, but it says like beachfront amusement, something beach, I think Long Island, New York or something. So anyway, I thought it was kind of a neat so I'm trying to get some of those words to kind of peek out from back there. And I knew I wanted my safety pin in there as well. And then I looked down, I was going to grab a piece of fabric to kind of back the whole thing, and found this strip that came straight up from last week, from week 2 of my Seek, Gather, Create challenge. And so I was like, yeah, well, that'll work. I'm not feeling a whole lot like grabbing a bunch of stuff, so I've got this. And the picture felt a little shiny to me, so I'm using a couple different sanding things, that's a 3M sponge up there, and then just a nice fine sanding block to just sand that photo down just a little bit to get some of the shine off. And then I'm going to start trying to kind of place all this. Because I was looking at it far longer than I needed to, and I think that was just, me trying to process everything and make sure my decisions were right. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Oohoo glue stick and stick those two tickets together with it, knowing that's just paper to paper. It'll be fine. Making sure the parts that I want to show will show up. And then I think I used the Oohoo as well to stick that fabric, just to at least tack it in place. So that, again, I can make sure the bits I want to show are showing. And I'll start looking at this again and decide to go ahead and, instead of gluing my safety pin down, it is a safety pin. So I'm going to just open that up and slip it onto that top of the fabric. Now, to me, a little bit, this feels almost like the mementos from a vacation, like ticket stubs and the photograph that are all kind of pinned together in a scrapbook or something. So I kind of like that feel. So I'm getting that all stuck together, and I knew because that photograph was curling, I was going to need something a little bit heavier to stick it together. So I'll pull that in a minute. But first, I wanted a little more texture on the background. So I've pulled out my Distress Oxide in black soot and this hand-carved stamp that kind of looks like, I think when I did it, it was supposed to look like ripples on water. And so I kind of wanted that to kind of bring in that same beachy, watery feel. And I'm just putting that around in a few places on the background. And then I'm going to pull in my Aleene's tacky glue, because I knew that's what I wanted to use to stick all this down, rather than using matte medium and the Oohoo. So I'm going to start gluing that down. I'll start with my little stack with the tickets and safety pin and all of that. So I'll stick that down, trying to make sure that my fabric is straight. It kept wanting to kind of turn a little bit. And then I'm going to do my photo here. And now when I go to put the photo down, what I don't realize is that I have Distress Oxide all over my fingers. Yes. So, I pull it up and look at that. It is a mess. So I try to clean it up with my fingers, made a bigger mess, tried to use my sweater, bigger mess. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just have a funky background. But no, I grabbed some baby wipes, cleaned my fingers off, and then lightly go over the photo and got most of that ickiness off, except for that one big spot. Once I try to press it down, it just, yeah. So it's fine. It's better than it was. But yeah, dirty fingers, y'all. I'm horrible about that. So I'm going to look at this. I'm feeling really good about this, and finally just decide that all I really need is a sentiment on here. So I'll pull out my small talk stickers and get this phrase. Oh gosh, I don't have it in front of me, but it felt just perfect. You're all I had looked for. I don't know, y'all. It was perfect, but the two of them standing on the beach holding hands, it was the right sentiment. So I'm going to stick that down, and I am done. And I hope you like this. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Make sure to go check out the hosts, as well as the whole hashtag Seek, Gather, Create on Instagram and here on YouTube. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.